Hi, welcome back to the workshop for episode 21 of the Rickenbacker 620 12-string build. And in this episode we're going to move back down onto the body end and put some splines in that will help hold it all together and also locate those body halves exactly where we want them. Moving back to the body end then, what I want to actually start to do is get the wings of the guitar fastened onto the central section. But this again means that we have to really think hard about what order we're going to be doing this in. So as things stand, there isn't any way to get this adjuster out, which I still need to do because I need to do a little bit of trimming here. And I don't have my pickups yet, so I don't want to be routing any of this material away to create access for this until I've done that. However, if I don't glue the fretboard in, I can still get the truss rod out. So having established that, I understand that I can at least get the wings of this glued on. So I'm going to start stripping this down and then we can look at exactly what it is we need to do. Okay, so with the top off, you can see kind of where we're at with these two wings now. And what I want to do is kind of line these wings up with the back edge of the body. So that's nice and flush. And that isn't necessarily easy to do when you're gluing something up because the glue kind of tends to make things slip and slide around a little bit. So what I'm going to do, to kind of make that lining up process a little bit easier, and B, to add a little bit of strength into this joint, is I'm going to actually route out some slots in here and fit a couple of splines on each of the two sides. And that should enable me to position these exactly where they need to be and to also stop them moving around under glue up and give me a really nice strong joint there. With that done, we can then look at gluing on the top so that we have our finished body. But as always, it's kind of never as straightforward as all of that. So I think the first thing we need to do is find some suitable timber to make these splines out of and get that milled down exactly as we need it before we proceed any further. And what I've got to do that is just a little bit of scrap wood that I've got knocking about. I believe it's teak, and it is, to all intents and purposes, that's 6mm thick. It's ever so slightly thinner. It's kind of like 5.9 something, but for woodworking, that's as close as we need to get it. So what I'm going to do next is just set up the router, get everything in the vise, and I'll set the fence up from the back edge and then just route in a couple of probably 30mm splines, one at either end of the neck and in the corresponding places on the body. Okay, so there's the little slots cut in the sides of the central section. I need to do the same onto the body now. However, you might not be able to see that in this shot, but the body is just ever so slightly thicker than this central section. It's only about 1 millimetre, but obviously we need to get that sorted out before we go anywhere near a glue up. So what I'll do is I'll set up a marking gauge line all the way around these body halves and just get that down with a plane. Like I say, it's only about 1 millimetre, so it won't really take that long to do. Okay, and that's now kind of almost exactly where we need it. There's a tiny little bit of excess that we'll need to take off once this is glued up, but it's marginal. It's kind of less than 1/2 mil, I think. So that's all good. So next up, we need to just line these up with where they need to be and mark them up, ready to receive the router cuts for those splines to go in. And then we can just run the router again, ensuring that we're working from the back face, route those slots in. Theoretically, they should be in exactly the same position as the slots in here. And then we're pretty much cooking with gas. Okay, so there's all those little slots cut. So now all we need to do is just cut some little splines out of this and we can see how it all fits together. Okay, so there's those little splines in place in the body half, and we'll just line them up and slot them in, and that is sitting pretty much exactly where I want it to. I've still got a little bit of excess material on the heel of the guitar that will need to be taken down, but I'll save that until everything's glued up and then I know I'm getting exactly the right profile on there. All the joints look really good. And so in terms of these sections, we're ready for glue up. However, we can't do it just yet, and I'm going to reassemble the neck and we'll show you why. And that is because, as you can probably see here, we haven't yet trimmed this neck to its correct profile. It's still a little bit oversized. You may remember when I was initially thinking about the size of the nut on this, I'd kind of actually allowed for a 48mm wide nut. In retrospect, I think that is way, way, way too wide. So the fretboard has actually been done to about 42.5, 43mm. It's a lot closer to what a Rickenbacker would have been, but it's not quite as skinny as that. So there is still a little bit of material that needs to be taken off this fretboard, and I'll do that with the router, but that means I wouldn't be able to get the router into the body end of things to get that done. So I can't put these body wings on until I've got the neck sorted out. Again, it's one of those kind of order of operation conundrums that you have to get sorted out before you can kind of make too much progress. But I think we've covered quite enough ground on this episode, so I'm going to leave that till next time when we can get this neck profile sorted out and then finally get these body wings glued on and look at what we need to do to get the top onto this thing. So I'll be back in a couple of days' time with all that. Until then, smash that like button if you've enjoyed this, subscribe, etc. and I'll look forward to seeing you in a couple of days' time. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye bye.